views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. I'm Kornelia Stephanie, and we have an amazing show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about money, one of my favorite topics here on Heaven on Earth. And we're going to be talking about what our relationship is like to money. And I'll be introducing you to my very special guest, Kelly Gushu, who is here with us. And she is going to educate us with her unique piece, her unique essence, her empowerment in the world that she teaches others really how to claim their financial power. So it's perfect because right after this show, the other show, The Millionaire Imprint for Women, is on right after this show. So be sure to stay tuned for that because we've got an amazing lineup there for you also. All the women are on today, and we're just finishing series 1 of the Millionaire Imprint for Women. It's been 3 months of an amazing movement that we've created to awaken the inner millionaire and really heal the shame and all the emotional history that we've had around money, especially for women. And so that is a powerful show, and that is right after this show. So I just want to give a quick few announcements before I introduce you to Kelly. Right now, there is so much change happening in the world, so many changes that it even brings people that have the tools to know how to process and really claim their power. It keeps us all challenged because we're faced with loss, we're faced with abandonment, we're faced with betrayal, we're faced with all kinds of different things that we have to claim our power in and not to react to events that are happening in the outside world. And when I remember those times for me when I felt that deep shame, when I felt betrayed and abandoned, when my life felt like it was falling apart and I felt like I had no control over some of the things that were taking place. And this is before I had the tools. So it was challenging. And I know many people that I talk to, clients and, people that are just having a tough time. So I want to introduce you to my Keeper of the Garden course that I created, especially for this season, but also as we moved into 2019. So the Keeper of the Garden course is in 21-day audio e-course, less than 10 minutes per day, and for 21 days at $1 a day. And it's going to assist you in moving to your deep, deep inner peace instead of reacting to what's going on in the outside world, so that you truly can bring your peace to the equation and not react. Through the course, with my voice and your choice, you discover that you're releasing things that are no longer serving you through whatever the triggers may be. and you're rewriting the story of your life. And right now, especially, is a pivotal time because our ground is really, really fertile. With all the change that's happening outside in the world, it's really important to have crystal clear intentions. And with my e-course, that supports you to do that. It's called The Keeper of the Garden. So be sure to go to my Facebook page, Kornelia Stephanie, but you can also go to Keeper of the Garden and stay in touch with us there. Go to my website at korneliastephanie.com, Keeper of the Garden, and purchase this gift for yourself and for your family and friends for the holidays. You'll be so glad that you did, because there is nothing and no one that's going to be able to take you out of your peace, take your peace and your power away from you with our co-creation together. And for $1 a day, $21, it is so affordable and supportive on your path to peace. So that's one part I want to talk about. The other part is we just recently, I got this new technology thing to, instead of having people go to my newsletter and sign up for my newsletter at my opt-in page at korneliastephanie.com, we have this new thing, and it's really, really cool. And I'd love for you to try it out. And I want to get lots and lots of texts. So text the word Kornelia to the number 22828. Text the word Kornelia to the number 22828. And that is going to get you signed up for my newsletter, which is going to really support you in receiving so much amazing content that I always offer for free in my newsletters. And so there's many ways that you can stay in your personal power with all the changes that's happening in the world, because like many of us, we've already gone through it. And now we're here to support others that are in this awakening collective to really be able to create the world that we want to live in, and that we want to be proud of, because we know what's happening outside right now. There's a lot of things that we're not proud of. And even if you're a CEO of a company and you've got employees, the Keeper of the Garden audio e-course is a wonderful gift that you can give to your employees. And you can also text me for group rates at 360-941-5783. So those are all the news and happenings. And now I want to introduce you to my amazing guest, Kelly Goucher, who is a personal finance warrior. She is the founder and CEO of Finance Warrior, an online platform that provides finance courses, content, and coaching for professional women. She empowers women all over the world to claim their financial power so that they can create financial freedom in their life. Kelly is a keynote speaker and holds workshops for companies, professional women groups. She has worked several areas of finance, including portfolio analysis, research, and wealth management. Kelly holds an AB from Harvard College and an MBA from the Booth School of Business at the University of Chicago. Welcome, Kelly, to the show. Welcome,
Thanks, Kornelia. So happy to be here. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you've got quite a resume. I'm so honored that you said yes, and that you are doing the good work that you're doing in the world, empowering women to with all their financial abilities, because women are powerful with money.
Yes. And really, Kornelia, a statistic that will shake everybody up is over the next decade, women will manage $2 out of every $3 of investable assets. So ladies, we need to manage our money, and we don't learn the skills to manage our money in high school or even in college. Hopefully that's going to change for the next generation. And so what that means is, how do we learn the skills so that we are making our money work for us? And that is what I do. My platform provides online courses and content so that women will take action on managing their personal finances.
And that's so awesome because, women, again, from where we came from in our history, we haven't really felt powerful with money because we've never really been paid our value and we haven't been paid our worth, and we didn't know what to do with our money. And, so now that women like you are here to teach us and educate us where to invest, how to build legacies that will sustain us, that we will feel good about. And really, it's our personal responsibility now in our evolution in being awake and aware to how amazing we are, how significant it is that we take responsibility with how we treat each other and how we treat money, how we treat our finances, how we treat our planet, which is why I created the Keeper of the Garden course, because we're all keepers of the garden. And Michelle, so tell me about what was your first vivid memory with money?
Sure. And Kornelia, I'll just take a step back before we jump in that I focus on women for 3 reasons. So I'll talk about the practical side of why it is critical for women to invest and to care about making their money work for them. Is number 1, women live 8 years longer than men. And so we need our money to last longer. So number 2 is the gender pay gap. So currently 80 cents on the dollar compared to men, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. There's a bunch of different data points. That's the one that I use. And then the 3rd reason is women often take time off to take care of children and elderly parents. And so that's another reason why they're often on-ramping, off-ramping, and on-ramping. And so that's why it's so important, especially early on, that women are investing and putting their money to work. And so just wanted to bring just more presence of how important it is.
Michelle, those 3 things that you just talked about, I want to talk about them again. I'm actually asking the producer for us to skip break and not go to break. I want to talk about those 3 things again because it's really true and it's so important. So let's talk about, say those 3 things one more time.
Sure. So first is women live 8 years longer than men.
Yeah. And so that means that we have to make sure that we have our financial foundation solid so that we can't rely and depend upon the men to take care of us.
Absolutely. And then the second reason is the gender pay gap, that currently women earn 80 cents on the dollar compared to men. And it varies in different industries. I work with a number of entrepreneurs. And so entrepreneurs have a leg up where they may be able to take direct action and influence how much money they're being paid. And that's actually why I talk about negotiating. That's one of the key topics that I focus on my platform, including in my 8-week course, because women need to ask and there are skills involved with negotiating. And so when you learn the skills, you'll be more effective at making the ask.
Yeah. And definitely then in practice experiencing that and being in that negotiating phase, it takes practice. It takes skill. You really have to be able to feel good. You have to be able to feel like you have a high self-esteem and a high self-worth, a good esteem, a good worth to where you feel good about asking. Because if you're coming from a low self-worth or a low esteem, you wouldn't feel good about asking. You wouldn't feel like you could.
Mm-hmm. And to add to that, and people may be interested, I was fascinated when I heard this. So in terms of negotiating and related to how we feel about it. So often negotiating, it is 2 people having a conversation, and it can be viewed as a confrontation. And so men in the face of a confrontation, if we think about the hunter and gatherer days, that men's minds become sharper during a confrontation. And unfortunately for women, actually, we have that freeze mindset. And again, biologically, And so in a confrontation, we actually don't have the clarity. So we tend to have a little bit more of that cloudy aspect because from a biological standpoint, we freeze. And so that's why the training associated with even negotiating where we are talking about dollars is so important. And I came up with the name Personal Finance Warrior, since warrior represents courage and the mastery of skills. And so what I really focus on is the skills training that in the negotiating session that I talk about the pitfalls of the common sense approach that often, Kornelia, especially women, we want to negotiate from a place of common sense, and it actually completely backfires. It really is about understanding the skills involved and what's expected in that type of conversation. And so just want to emphasize or just add to what you're saying about the emotional side that comes into play on the negotiating front.
Yeah, that's really good. And then, the piece that you talked about, how, men are not seen as, they get sharper and they're not seen as confrontational, and women kind of fold. And that's only because women haven't claimed their power in that yet also, right? And really feel like they deserve it, and that they are just as worthy and as powerful as the men are. And it's really bringing women into equality, equal to the masculine. And that's also another area. I mean, because this is part of the old patriarchal system that is now dismantling. The women are really having to step up and claim their authority, claim their power, claim their value, claim their worth, which is all part of that negotiating that you're talking about. I remember when I was working out in the corporate world before I became this amazing, successful entrepreneur, when I was out there, and I was running a very tight ship, and I was very, very good at what I was doing. And, a lot of times people would say, she's too tough, or she's she's too tough, she's too strong, or she's too this, or she's too that. And in part, if I would have been a man, nobody would have said those things to me. Nobody would have said those things. He's too strong. He's too tough. He's too this. He's too that. Because, men are not, we look at men as strong, but when it comes to women, and when we compare that. So that's that whole old energy that we're releasing, and that we're having to really overcome to really step in and to step into that courage that you talk about.
Yes. And then to add to that, Kornelia, is we only have one or two generations of working women as examples. And so that's why, as you're talking about, we are in this revolution as we are evolving, because that really is the case of one or two generations of working women. And so negotiating, even investing, and that being such an important piece of planning for retirement, 2 generations ago, that wasn't necessarily the case. And so we are in this dynamic environment, and it is so great, Kornelia, for you to be a voice advocating for empowerment for women. And so I stand for financial empowerment for women. And so it's so great to have this conversation.
It is. It's inspiring and it's empowering, and all the listeners that are out there that are listening to this, I know the feeling of what it's like when you hear the truth and when you feel the truth, and it's like, yes, I'm for that, and thank you so much for listening and for tuning in to us being able to share our wisdom here. So, did you cover the third thing, Kelly?
And the third thing is women often take time off to take care of children and elderly parents.
Okay, so that is so huge, because elderly parents, again, is that's being laid on the women, right? And so the women have to take care of it. And if women, I know, as a matter of fact, I know several women right now that are in that position, that are having to take care of their elderly parents, and also having a hard time with being able to juggle it all, to be able to juggle the family, the work life, and all of the different things, and still have time for self-nurturing, have time for self-care, and live a balanced life. So how do we do all that? We have to make sure that we set up our financial foundations, our legacies, our footprints, our blueprints in environments that really support us and our children, and that we are the examples. Everything that's happened for us, not to us, but for us, happened at a time when that was all part of the plan. And now there's a new day. It's the feminine way, and the feminine is rising, and it's a feminine way that is an empowered way, because women, again, taking care of the parents, taking care of the children, making decisions, on where we should fund projects that will take care of the planet and that will do good things for the planet. There is so much to this that it's like, that's why empowering women with finances and financial power. Thank you, Michelle, for doing that work all over the world that you so well do. So tell me about what was your first vivid memory.
Sure. And so my first vivid memory about money was actually, it was in the evening. The next day, I had a half day at school. I was in grammar school. I was in 4th grade. And I would go with a group of friends on half days. We would go to Papagino's, the local pizza place, and it was $2 for a pizza deal. So you got pizza, a soda, and French fries. And I asked my Mom, can I have $2 to go for pizza tomorrow? We have a half day. And she was embarrassed to say, Kelly, I don't have $2. And I didn't understand. What do you mean? It's just $2. And she actually she walked over to me, she opened her wallet, and there was not any money in there. And of course, this was before there weren't things, as the prevalence of credit cards and electronic forms of money. And in that moment, I realized that this idea that there may not be there may not be money available. That was my first vivid memory, that there wasn't enough money in my household. And so at that early age, I started off with a scarcity mindset. And it wasn't until, and so I started working at the age of 12, since I did need to help and contribute to some of the household expenses. And it wasn't until when I started learning about personal finance that I learned about the difference between scarcity and abundance, to make a choice. That even though that was my first memory, that when you are aware of what your impression is about money, then you then have a choice. And so what I often ask my clients is, we go through that example and to hear what is the first early memory, because it varies across the board. So before I talk more, I would love to hear, Kornelia, what was your first vivid memory about money?
Yeah. Well, it's not a happy time, certainly, thinking about that, because when I grew up in Germany, and my mother was a single mother, and she was raising us children on her own, and she wasn't getting child support. So we were, and so she used to pull me aside. She would wake me up at 2:00 in the morning, and from being a waitress, and she would have me sit down and count the money. And she pulled me aside and she said, "You're my right-hand person. You're the person that's going to help me, pay the bills and take care of things," because she had to go to work and there wasn't anybody else really that could take care of us. So I took on basically the role of the mother, if you will, put my own emotional needs aside, which was huge, which is why I ended up really going into the line of work that I did, and to really move into emotional freedom and processing and all that stuff, because of my upbringing from my past and not having emotionally had my own needs met. So, my mom putting me responsible for taking care of the bills at an early on. And then I got a chance to see right away that we never had enough to pay the bills. So I learned how to that there was never enough. I learned that my father wasn't paying a child support, and that, that we have to do it on our own. There isn't really anybody that we can count on. And that we were always coming up short, and there just wasn't enough. And my mom's strategy back then, that was, quite a while ago back then. Her strategy was she's looking for a husband, another person to marry her, so that she has somebody to help her take care of her children, because there wasn't enough for us. There were days when what we ate was slices of bread with sugar on top. So that was my vivid memory of money. And like I said, it's not a happy time, but that's what it is. And those are the energies that we have to transcend, release, and let go, so that we can create a new story. That was the story. And I know that there's many other people that have stories that are in poverty, because that's really where I was brought up, in poverty and not enough.
And Kornelia, thank you. So what a touching story. And you've been doing your work to recognize that even though you came from a place of scarcity, and we're going to talk more about where you are today, but I just also want to mention for audience members, you may have your first vivid memory about money, maybe the first time you realized that your family had money. On the other hand, that for many people, it might be the realization that money doesn't grow on trees. People often heard that growing up, but it may be the first time that you shared with somebody that you have a boat. And that realization that having a boat meant that you had extra money to have a boat in addition to your daily needs met, or that you drove a certain type of car, and that the status of that car meant that your family had money. So I pose to the audience, what was your first vivid memory about money? To really see that, did you start off as Kornelia and I with this mindset of scarcity, or from the beginning you started off with the mindset of abundance because maybe some other events happened that shifted that, which we're going to talk more about.
Yeah, I love that you're posing that to the audience to really ask that question, and everyone is able to then identify where their mindset was, or their memory was, so that they can really identify some of their habits and habitual behaviors and lifestyle for what they're living today, right? Yeah. So, Michelle, we're going to take a quick break here on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We will be right back with more of Michelle Goucher and what is your emotional mastery over money? We'll be right back.
How would you like increased health and vitality? How would you like to avoid the onset of disease as well as slow the aging process? This is all possible through a simple, safe, and natural process. Every day we are either moving toward wellness or away from wellness.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. I'd like to be your partner in achieving optimal health. Contact me now at maryjanemack.com or call 425-392-0659. Visit maryjanemack.com.
A space of allowing radio with Coach Nancy Coco, welcoming all that wants to be present today. Tune in Thursdays every first and third week at 9 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com as Coach Nancy helps you find a space of allowing. Join Coach Nancy to explore what lives at your edges and to bring more of yourself home. For more information, visit NancyCocoCoaching.com.
Demystifying the Journey on From Here to There Radio with your host, Diane Garris. Tune in every third Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific Time on TransformationTalkRadio.com as Diane helps you get from where you are now to the life you envision. Get ready to get unstuck and move forward. Every show features a new special segment, New Age Notes, demystifying hot metaphysical topics of the day. For more information or to work with Diane, visit DianeGarris.com.
Have you been searching for a push to step out and share your gifts with the world? Allow Charlene Hess to empower you to start shedding the layers of your ego that are holding you back and begin feeling connected to your heart so that you can shine your unique divine light and share your gifts with the world. Tune in to the Charlene Hess Show, Living on Your Heart's Edge, every first and third Friday at noon Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. For more information, visit CharleneHess.com.
Charlene Hess is a red-headed powerhouse of energy, love, and light. As a hairstylist, personal trainer, and life coach, she empowers people to develop a deeper connection with themselves mentally, emotionally, and physically. Join Charlene the third Friday of each month on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. Get ready to experience your highest self, find your purpose, and discover your calling. You too can become unstoppable, shining your light and sharing your gift. Visit Charlene at CharleneHess.com.
Would you like your next chapter to be free from fear and angst? Tune in to Your Next Chapter Radio, navigating through life's transitions with Shelley Ryan the fourth Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Shelley's contagious enthusiasm guides you through life's transitions deliberately, mindfully, and funnily. For Your Next Chapter coaching or to listen, visit YourNextChapterCoaching.com or call 602-617-8351. Next.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. You're listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, and I'm with Kelly Goucher, not Michelle. Throughout the show, I have been calling her Michelle, and I apologize to you, Kelly, and audience. It's Kelly. It's not Michelle. I don't know why I had Michelle on my mind. Probably because Michelle is part of the Millionaire Imprint, and she's part of the team, and Michelle, I met Kelly through Michelle. I think maybe that's the reason why. So it's never happened to me before. I'm really, really sorry for calling you Michelle when your name is Kelly. So just wanted to clarify that. Thank you so much for the wonderful conversation and insight that we're having today. We were talking about scarcity mindset. And so you were going to give us some examples of what can happen when that takes place.
Sure. And so Kornelia and I had shared our first vivid memory about money, which was not our family's not having enough money. And so we had posed to the audience to think about your first vivid memory about money. And if you are also in the category like us of scarcity was your default of your first vivid memory about money, I'd like to talk about what does that mean today? Is that something that still plagues you and you may not even realize? So I want to talk about a couple of day-to-day situations for you to get a better sense of where you stand with this mindset. And the idea is we had talked about a scarcity mindset and then a mindset of abundance. And the idea with abundance, it may be that your family did have money and the realization that your family had money. And so let's first talk about, Kornelia, I'd love to talk about eating out since we all need to eat and in eating out. So what happens when you go to a restaurant and you look at the menu? And so maybe, Kornelia, we can even maybe use you as an example. So there are different scenarios. So one scenario may be you look at the menu and you choose based on what you're in the mood for that evening, and you don't look at the prices. Another scenario may be that that's the first thing you look at is how much are the items, and you're always going to choose either like a middle of the road price or even something that's one of the cheaper items on the menu. So maybe let me pose to you, Kornelia. And like I said, and maybe you don't look at the prices at all. What is your typical experience at a restaurant?
Well, it just reminded me. I don't think that I look at the prices because I don't even when I go clothes shopping or I go shopping, I don't look at the prices. So I go to the restaurant and I look at what it is that I feel that I want to eat, and I look at the menu, but I don't look at the prices. And I do that when I go shopping too.
Mm-hmm. And so for many of us, so Kornelia's been doing her work. And so, that in terms of displaying a mindset of abundance where That really is that example of when you're looking at a menu and price doesn't matter, and when you're shopping. And so let's look at the other scenario of when you are you somebody that you might not even realize that you are at the restaurant and you are looking at the different price points? No, it may be because you only have a certain amount of money and you're going out with some friends and you want to be mindful about your spending. Some of it may be, or some of the sentiments around it may be that just you don't feel comfortable buying an item on the menu that may be a higher priced item. So some people just maybe, I'm not going to buy steak because it's typically the higher priced item on the menu. And that's something that I'm not comfortable with. And even with the scenario about shopping. And so with shopping, how often are you looking for the best bargain? And so we just had Black Friday, and there were some amazing retail opportunities. I was just blown away this year, and talking to actually different retailers and saying that's what they needed to do in order to keep up. How often are you seeking out bargains versus buying because you need to buy something? So like, say for an example, you have a special occasion coming up. Are you only shopping for that particular dress at a bargain? Or are you thinking about, well, I want to find the best dress for that occasion? And so those are just some of the examples of a scarcity mindset. Taking a deeper dive is really thinking about the cost associated with something. And what I say, or what I want to encourage, is it's okay to think about that, but is it holding you back? Are you uncomfortable buying a dress at full price? Are you uncomfortable going into a boutique where the prices just may be beyond what you're able to spend, but you're actually uncomfortable being in that store?
Yeah, that's really, really good. I've gotten to the point where, I have my budget. And in my budget, I know what my entertainment budget is. And if I'm eating out as part of that. And so it's fine. And so then when I go, it's part of the budget. So there's no feelings about it. It's like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. And I work hard and I do, and I go and have a wonderful meal, and I live within my means. I used to be not conscious of that, but I don't do that anymore. I'm really conscious. I'm not a consumer. I'm not going out just to purchase things to have things. I'm really conscious with the choices and decisions that I make about, buying an outfit, or it's all part of my budget. And being an entrepreneur. When you're an entrepreneur, for the longest while, all of your money goes into your business. And so you're even tighter. You're even coming from a tighter place, from a tighter, than you normally would, because all your money is continuously put into the business. And so I've had to deal with that for years. So yeah, I'm just now coming to a place where, with the Millionaire Imprint for Women, and over this last past year has probably been my most successful financial year. And I'm now working on, because I'm not a millionaire, but I am a millionaire in creation. And I'm sharing my authentic path, that I am creating a lifestyle for myself that is that this is the lifestyle that I want to live, because I want to live how I want to live, and I want to give how I want to give. Because if it's really just for me, I don't need a lot of money to live. I want to have money because I want to be able to support grassroots projects that I'm passionate about. I want to live in freedom and travel the world and do the things that I want to do, and that requires a lifestyle that I wasn't born into, but that I'm creating for myself. And so that's all part of the financial empowerment, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And so, Kornelia, I love so many things that you're saying. So for us, you use the B word, budget. Love it. So I talk about that in week 3 of my 8-week course. So we do the emotions in week 2, and then week 3, we talk about money. Where is your money going, so that you understand your spending habits, your patterns, And most women are conscious about most areas of their spending. There just may be some areas that they are not as conscious, or there just may be some areas of fear. It's usually not 100%. There usually just may be some areas. And so some of the scenarios I'm talking about, I actually have a quiz on my website about your emotional relationship to money. And so we'll talk about that, but I just want to let you know that I have just 10 questions for you to get a better sense of where you stand in some of these scenarios, to see that really, are you driven more by a scarcity mindset or an abundance mindset? And Kornelia is sharing the example that even though she says she's not a millionaire, abundance is not about having so much money. It's about understanding where you budget, where your money is going, and then making choices about it. So it sounds like, Kornelia, you enjoy eating out. And that's another thing, that when we go through the budget, where is your money going? Is it flowing to the areas where you really do feel joy? So some of my clients, they end up spending so much money on takeout, they're actually not enjoying it. It's just a lazy way. And once they see, wow, I didn't realize how much money I'm spending, and that's an area we don't need to eat out as much because we're not enjoying special experiences. It's just almost like a lazy way. And there just may be ways that you're using that money for more experiences, for more joy. And that's where just the mindfulness comes in. And so you're giving the fantastic example of what a mindset of abundance is, that in the areas that you care about, you get to be in a mindset of abundance, spend what you want to, because that really is what warms your heart.
Yes, absolutely. And that's another thing, is that I love experiences. I love to be able to have experience the abundance that I have and share that experience with people that I love, and, close people that I love. And then also just be a philanthropist and just give, generously give resources, give our resources away so that we can support each other and thrive together. And that's part of the shared experience that I love. But one of the things that was coming up for me earlier too, when you were talking about asking us, what our mindset was, when we were growing up. When you're in a relationship, that also is a thing, because you had a certain mindset and you were growing up in abundance or not abundance, and your partner might have been growing up in abundance. So, and then when you're together in a relationship, both those choices and dynamics play out, right? I bet you find that also.
And absolutely. And this is just where we're having a conversation about it. So hopefully audience members will take a step back and say, wow, I didn't realize my first vivid memory about money, the impact that has. And the question is does that continue today? Or have you been doing your work where you get to stand in what abundance looks like? And so we'll just give another example of scarcity versus abundance today to show how there are opportunities for you to shift that, because that's really what we want to talk about, is how do you shift to ensure that you're in a mindset of abundance.
Yes. And Kelly, could you tell the audience again what your website is and where they can get those questions that you so carefully crafted for them?
Sure. So it's a 10-question quiz, and my website is personalfinancewarrior.com. And you'll see right when you pull up on the website to take the quiz, to take the money quiz, and then you'll have access to it. And it'll send you, there are 4 different profiles, and you'll see where on the spectrum you are. If you are more of a saver, if you are careless, if you are responsible, and where along the spectrum. So it's actually fun. So it's a fun exercise. And again, you'll get to see in the different scenarios where you stand, where are there some areas where you still may have some fear around that. Since how your emotional relationship to money impacts so many areas of money. So not only the spending, what we're talking about, but also your investing. So does that mean that, are you checking your accounts? Are you engaging with your bank accounts, with your investment accounts? Because that then is a key step to, are you doing what you need to do to take action to invest? And so we'll continue the conversation in what are some ways for you to break through these money blocks to focus on investing, which is really where I want to get my audience members.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to hearing about that. We're going to take a quick break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back with Kelly Gaucher.
To find answers to life's questions, you need to look within yourself. Dr. Glenna Rice brings your questionable conversations on Transformation Talk Radio each month. Tune in each month for insight into how you can live up to your full potential. Dr. Glenna is a physical therapist, certified Access Consciousness, and Access Body Class facilitator. How does it get any better than this? For more information on Dr. Glenna Rice and her work, visit glennarice.com.
Introducing New Soul Science, an introductory course with Ruby Betty, offering profound wisdom alongside radically simple concepts and techniques that collapse time, allowing instantaneous personal transformation. The foundational techniques of this introductory course reveal the profound inner ability each human has to access and fulfill their individual soul script or soul promise. Awakening this ability leads to the mastery of one's destiny. The concepts are totally original, immensely powerful, and completely revolutionary. They ignite an infinite fire within each listener, fueling one's ability to live out their unique soul promise. Are you ready to become more aware and access amazing personal transformation? This course is available now at rubybetty.co.
Interested in deepening your spiritual practice? The School for Esoteric Studies offers online training to spiritual seekers from all paths of life and individual coaching. Our courses synthesize Eastern and Western spiritual traditions based on meditation, study, and service applied to everyday life. To learn more about our courses and services, please visit www.esotericstudies.net.
Do you believe you are meant to live with more joy, but you're just not sure how to get it? What does the phrase, "give me the joy," make you feel? Join me, Lynn Horde, every second and fourth Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, on the Gimme the Joy Show, as I take you on a journey to peel back the layers so you can take back your joy. To find out more about my work as the Joy Coach, including my popular programs Joy School and Joy at Work, visit lynnhorde.com.
Are you ready to embrace your essence and the magic of who you are? Let me, Emily Perkins, hold your hand and walk with you as we go treasure hunting for the gold that lies within you. Tune in to Love Living Radio every second and fourth Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. For more information, visit lovelivingHolistics.com.
We are back on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. So, Kelly, tell us about your course, because I heard you mention that course quite a few times, that you have a 10-week course or a 12-week course.
Yep. So it's 8 weeks, and it's targeted for busy professional women. And so my next course will start January 22nd. It's called Master Your Dollars to Create Financial Freedom. Because really, Kornelia, that is what we want. We want to be able to make our own decisions and to be able to have financial freedom in the different areas of our life. And so over 8 weeks, we go through the different areas of personal finance planning. And so we understand, like, what is your emotional relationship with money? And the idea is what comes up that may hold you back from engaging with your accounts. And then you create a customized budget. And then I have a dedicated session on negotiating, because it's so important. And like I said, the common sense approach, especially for women, often backfires. And then we talk about your retirement. Where are you aware of the dollar figures? what is inside your retirement account. And then we talk about, and really infuse it, is the idea that, are you talking about money with your spouse? And so I encourage a practice called a finance date night. And I'm actually going to do one live. So on my Facebook business page on Friday, December 7th, I'm going to give an example of how you hold a finance date night. Whether you're in a relationship or not, it's a monthly practice that I encourage with my audience.
What time is that?
It's at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. And one of the other things that I love about the course is with women, I focus on women. But what I like to say is your spouse gets it for free. Because what I encourage my audience members is, I want you to share every week with your spouse what you're learning, and that you're having this conversation about money, especially your emotional relationship with money. When you take the quiz, I want your spouse to take the quiz, and I want you to talk about it. So that's what I love to say, is because I've been asked, can my spouse take it? I'm going to say, and I say, actually, he gets it for free. And one of the top money mistakes that I see, Kornelia, is that women often don't talk about money. And that's part of what I emphasize in my course, is talking about money in the different areas of your life. Negotiating, that's more on the professional side, but on the personal side with your spouse, and having meaningful conversations about money, talking about your financial goals, your values around money, and really understanding also just where the accounts are. So I have my top 10 warrior rules, and rule number 9 is to know where all the accounts are. And that's something that, especially for those busy professional women in the audience, that's one of the key risks that I hear, is that especially as women are so busy and there's a division of labor, they may not be aware of where the accounts are. And when things are great, that's the time to do it. And so even taking my course is another opportunity for you to really have the tools to have those meaningful conversations, and to really get a grasp on where all the finances are in your household.
I love the date night. I love that. I think that's wonderful. I love that. And I also love to share it with your spouse. Everything that you're learning, to share it with your spouse or your partner, so that the information is rippled out, and it's teaching and it's educating everything that you're learning, and that you're discovering, that you're sharing it with your person, because it's going to help everybody, and it's going to help, help your family and your children. And I think it's wonderful what you're doing. That's so great.
And that's also, Kornelia, what I say is, so when I train women, I train them to be finance warriors, but I really train them to be ambassadors to their families, to their communities. They become, when they learn the skills involved with managing their money, with investing, they then gain the skills, the comfort level to have conversations with everybody in their life. And so it has an impact, like you said, that ripple effect. And so I have my course in 8 weeks because people are so busy. And so the idea is you have this crash course over 8 weeks, and then the ripple effect continues.
Right. My gosh, that's pretty good. And I'm so glad that you're starting that in January. So people can go to your website at personalfinancewarrior.com and find out more information about that.
Yes. And then there'll be a segment on online courses. And so the Master Your Dollars will be on that.
Great. Do you want to leave us with some practical steps today? We've just got a few minutes left, and there's the hour.
Sure. So it goes by so quick. We've had so much fun. So you can see I love talking about this, and then I'm so passionate about this. And so we really focused on the scarcity versus abundance mindset. And really the idea is, the key takeaway is, are you aware of what your mindset is? And how does that translate when you are dealing with money in your own life? So if you have the scarcity mindset, that may be why you may feel fearful around interacting with your money. Are you reviewing your accounts? I created this concept, or I encourage, of monthly finance date night where you're engaging with your money, and so that you feel more comfortable with that. And sometimes the risk with an abundance mindset is you just may feel like there is so much money flowing that you may not be engaging with your money. And the idea is that and especially in my course, the ideas with creating a budget is to see how much more money can you then invest. Because the idea with investing is that your money is working for you through all the life changes, so that if you do decide to take time off to take care of children, if the situation happens where a family member gets sick and you need to take time off, that your money is invested and over time it's working for you. And so, Kornelia, I do a deeper dive talking about some of the aspects about the financial markets, but over time, over the last 100 years, the average return in the stock market is between 9 and 10%. And so we want our money to be working for us over those long periods of time. So over those decades. And so the earlier that we can invest and put money in our retirement accounts, that's really what I want to encourage, especially more women to do.
Thank you so much, Kelly Gushi. Thank you for your well of wisdom that you shared with us today. We'll see you next time on the Kornelia Stephanie Show.
You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at KorneliaStephanie.com.